President Trump's extraordinary mid-decade partisan gerrymander offensive has hit major roadblocks recently in California, in Utah, and in federal court in Texas. But his forces have continued on their path of destruction and are now targeting the 2020 census itself as a way to tear up the political map of the country. This week, President Trump released this telltale statement on social media. This all began with the rigged census. He said, "We must keep the majority at all costs. Republicans must fight back." So what a syllogism we're offered, because Trump must keep the majority at all costs. Therefore, the 2020 census was rigged. This is lunacy. It's like saying, because Trump had to win the 2020 election, he really wanted to win it, therefore the election was rigged and he won it.
In 2018, Republican leadership, including the president himself, called for a citizenship question to be included in the 2020 census reports. To no one's surprise, when the Democrats took control, these requests went unanswered, and the question of citizenship was waived. But the fact remains that the concept of sanctuary cities and radical blue states ignoring immigration law and using the illegal population to manipulate the lines of congressional districts is, in fact, unconstitutional. Not only are there severe constitutional concerns from the inclusion of illegal immigrants, but the Census Bureau admitted to having made several, quote, errors in their 2020 census report. Convenient, seeing that as in 2020, Donald Trump was on top of the ticket. In 2020, the Bureau undercounted in primarily deep red states such as Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Texas, all red, while overcounting in radical left blue states like Delaware, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New York, Ohio, and Rhode Island. This egregious error led to many states being denied proper representation in Congress and the Electoral College. So much so that these errors cost Republicans not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 seats in the House. In addition to the 2020 miscounting, including illegal immigrants in the census has improperly granted radical left blue states 12 additional seats in the United States House of Representatives. It's a total of 18 seats gained. If you are an illegal person in this country, should you under any circumstances be allowed to vote and choose leadership in this country?
The studies have shown that there are very few instances which they have.
So that number needs to be 0. And as somebody who is a proud Texan, we and in Florida have done our best to get that number to 0. And in spite of the fact that I just voted a couple of weeks ago and we voted with paper ballots that we had to show an ID for, that they didn't verify my address and where I lived. And then I had to put said piece of paper through a machine, copied it. They gave me another copy. And then they gave me my very proud I voted sticker. And even with those stringent rules, with my daughter who is 7 years old was actually with me. She too got an I voted sticker. And guess what? With those stringent laws, we still have illegals voting in federal elections. So the question is not even about what's happening in Texas. If it's happening in Texas, you have to imagine that while it may seem like a minuscule amount to you, sir, that number needs to be 0. And if it's happening in Texas with those stringent rules, imagine what's happening in other blue states that don't have anything that closely resembles that level of redundancy to ensure that the person that voted in that election is in fact a citizen that has an address and has an ID.